I asked 55,000 people which one of these Spider-Man actors is the best, and the results came in with Shameik Moore in last place with 10% of the votes. Then in third place is Tom Holland with only 16% of the votes. Second place is Tobey Maguire with 32% of the votes, and Andrew Garfield in first place with an overwhelming 42% of the votes. I can't say I agree with this list, so let's fix it. So let's just be honest, third and fourth place is between these two, but I think it's a much bigger debate than a lot of people think, because both Tom Holland playing Peter Parker and Shameik Moore as the voice of Miles Morales thrive in a lot of the same ways. They're both really good at being the more younger, kind of naive version of a Spider-Man. And we haven't even seen the end of these Spider-Man story yet, so by the end of their run, they could be in the number 2 or 1 spot even, but as of right now, they're battling for 3 and 4. One thing that really separates these two actors from each other is how good their chemistry is with their love interest in the films, because that is a huge part of the Spider-Man story always, whether it's Gwen or MJ. And I gotta give points here to Shameik Moore as Miles Morales, because his chemistry with Hailee Steinfeld's Gwen is amazing, and their love story is easily the best part of those two Spider-Verse films. Honestly, even though Tom Holland and Zendaya are dating in real life, I find their chemistry on screen kind of weak, and their relationship is really easily the weakest part of those movies. Although Shameik Moore does get some points off for trying to rizz up Hailee Steinfeld in interviews over and over again and failing every single time, like just give it up, bro. I think Tom is amazing in the suit and things early on, like Homecoming and especially Civil War. The quips he's throwing around in that battle are just pure Spider-Man energy, but I feel like in the later movies we've kind of lost that a little bit. It's because those MCU Spider-Man films are just filled with so many other things, we can't really focus on his version of Spider-Man. Shameik Moore as the voice of Miles is also incredible at doing all the things when you're in the Spider-Man suit, all the quips and stuff that we come to know. So I think I'm actually going to have to go with Tom Holland in fourth place and Shameik Moore in third place, because yes, I know he is just the voice actor, but you can't underestimate how important that is to bringing a character like this to life. This brings us to the grand showdown of Tobey versus Andrew. Obviously both incredible actors with amazing Spider-Man performances here. Now going back to the argument of the actors' chemistry with their love interest in this movie, because that is a super important part of being Spider-Man in my opinion, Andrew and Emma probably have the best chemistry of this entire thing, and they were dating in real life, but it actually showed on screen too. But legitimately, every time these two are in a scene talking to each other, it is the best part of those amazing Spider-Man movies. These are just two amazing actors going back and forth, and it just feels so real and straight out of a comic book of Peter and Gwen. I don't think Tobey and Kirsten Dunst as Peter and MJ from the Raimi trilogy is as good as their relationship. I do think these two do have amazing chemistry and a lot of great relationship moments in those Spider-Man movies that really show off Tobey's acting. These two are both absolutely incredible at playing Spider-Man himself. Everything when they're in the suits is great. I love all of Tobey's quips because they're just so kind of lame and just nerdy things to say, but that's so fitting for Spider-Man. Andrew's got a lot more of the kind of cool and cocky kind of attitude when he's in the suit with his quips. And the physical acting he's doing when he is in the suit, just moving his arms and stuff, is just so good as Spider-Man. I feel like a little bit too much of that carries over to when he's still Peter Parker. I kind of prefer my Peter Parker to be a little bit more of a dopey, kind of nerdy character, and Andrew Garfield is just not that. Like, the movies kind of try to convince you that he's like that, but it just does not come off on screen in my opinion. Maybe it's just because Andrew Garfield's just too cool to play that type of character. Tobey just perfectly captures that side of Peter Parker that's just kind of the regular guy going through his everyday struggles. Things aren't really falling into place for him, and I honestly just prefer that version of a Spider-Man. And when it comes to the movies, the Andrews are easily the weakest, and I know you're probably thinking, well, wait, you're talking about the actors themselves. How does that affect Andrew Garfield? In my opinion, it's not even close when you compare the movies. Obviously, the Tobey films are amazing, and I am not the biggest fan of the first Amazing Spider-Man, although I think it's fine, but the second one I absolutely despise. And I know what you're thinking, why is this guy talking about the movies when you're comparing the actors themselves playing Spider-Man? But something a lot of people don't want to admit is that it's harder to give a good performance when you're getting worse written lines and a story that's not as good. Like, Andrew Garfield does do an amazing job at shining above the kind of mediocre scripts and stories he was given with things like his physical acting in the Spider-Man suit and the chemistry like I was talking about, but there's only a limit to how much an amazing actor can do when you're given a bad thing. Let me know in the comments how you'd rank these 4 actors as Spider-Man, but I'm going to ultimately side on Andrew Garfield in second and Tobey Maguire in first. Maybe it's just blinded by nostalgia, but I absolutely love him as this character, and he'll forever be my number 1 Spider-Man.